Wait, did Tyler Perry just call out Meghan Markle on live television without saying her name once? Because if you were watching the BET Awards, you know exactly what moment I'm talking about. This wasn't a speech. It was a mic drop in disguise, and it cracked Meghan's fairy tale wide open. And hey, if you like real talk, no fluff, and staying ahead of the drama, go ahead and tap that subscribe button. I've got you covered. Now here's the thing. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry may have left the crown behind in 2020, but it wasn't the royal family who caught them when they fell. It was Tyler Perry. Yep, Tyler Perry. The Hollywood powerhouse who, for years, kept his personal life tight-lipped, private, humble, suddenly took the stage and peeled back the curtain on one of the most jaw-dropping celebrity dynamics we've seen in a while. Back when Meghan and Harry said goodbye to Buckingham Palace, Perry did more than send them a fruit basket. He gave them his mansion, his security team, his wallet. We're talking an $18 million home in Beverly Hills, no rent, no strings, just friendship. Or at least, that's what he thought. But according to Perry, that goodwill came with a hidden cost. And no, it wasn't money. It was silence his own. Fast forward to that BET Awards speech, Perry never said her name. He didn't have to. The message was loud and clear. Some folks borrow blessings like they're owed, but never return the favor. Yikes. He told the story of someone he sheltered, protected, and trusted. But once they got what they needed, gone. No thank you, no loyalty, just radio silence. And while the cameras didn't dare cut to anyone's face, if you've been following the behind-the-scenes whispers, you knew exactly who he meant: Meghan. Behind the glam and headlines, Perry had been holding back, biting his tongue, hoping for the best. But everything changed with one bold ask: a private jet. Now, let's pause right there. Who asks for a private jet like it's an Uber? According to insiders, Meghan called it a simple favor, and when Perry declined, not because of money, but because of principle, she flipped. That was the breaking point. From that moment on, Perry saw it clearly. The one-time princess wasn't looking for friendship. She was collecting favors, one elite name at a time, and dropping them the moment they stopped fitting the narrative. And let's be real, Perry wasn't the first to notice. Staff, producers, colleagues, they all warned him. Error, but he believed in her, believed in them. And as Harry and Meghan signed million-dollar deals with Spotify and Netflix, Perry waited for some recognition, or at the very least, a thank you. It never came. So when he walked on that stage, he wasn't speaking as a Hollywood mogul. He was speaking as someone who gave everything and got ghosted. And the timing? Brutal. Right when Meghan and Harry were out shopping a new documentary about power and freedom, Tyler Perry Hollywood's quiet storm flipped the script. Investors started pulling out. The whispers became headlines. And suddenly, the people who once painted Perry as just a generous friend now saw him as something else. A whistleblower, a truth teller, and most of all, Dawn staying quiet. And just like that, the illusion shattered. Meghan Markle didn't just lose a friend, she lost the friend, the last one standing. Tyler Perry, the man who risked his reputation to give her a safe place when no one else would, had finally walked away. And Hollywood? Oh, it felt the aftershock. See, this town isn't known for picking sides in public drama. It thrives on whispers, favors, and polite avoidance. But Tyler Perry isn't some B-list celebrity hoping for a role. He owns the studio. He's the guy you don't want turning cold. So when he threw shade, the industry listened. The next morning, phones lit up, a Netflix producer gone. Another investor who had already sat through meetings with Meghan and Harry backed out. And his reason? One sentence: I don't want to be involved in something that feels this toxic. And that speaks volumes. It wasn't about the project, it was about them. Because suddenly, Meghan's name didn't scream progressive icon anymore, whispered liability. And back at Archwell, panic. Her PR team scrambled like it was DEFCON 1. They tried spinning offering exclusive interviews, teasing unreleased footage, even pitching a podcast just to clap back at Perry's speech. But nobody was buying it. Not the journalists, not the producers, not the public. In fact, the harder they pushed, the more people started asking, what are they so desperate to hide? Because if Meghan had nothing to be ashamed of, why the media blitz? Why the frantic damage control? Behind the scenes, things were unraveling. Tyler Perry didn't want to go public. That's the part people miss. He didn't climb on stage to start drama, did it because he felt cornered. After years of emotional manipulation, of watching his name used to open doors he didn't authorize, he finally said no more. And what triggered it? Not the private jet, not the ghosting. It was when Meghan used his name without permission in a pitch meeting. She told potential funders he was backing her next big media venture. He wasn't, and when word got back to him, he was furious. That was the line. This wasn't a friendship anymore. It was a power grab. And Perry, known for protecting his peace, decided to protect his reputation instead. And guess what? He wasn't alone. Suddenly, others started stepping forward. A former assistant from Meghan's team called the work environment emotionally exhausting, said Meghan demanded loyalty, controlled every narrative, and punished anyone who pushed back. A Spotify producer claimed she killed creativity, that every project had to reflect her image, her perfectionism, her control. No collaboration, just control. And perhaps the most chilling part, even Oprah's circle went silent. No texts, no phone calls, no defense. Nothing. And if you know how close Oprah once was to Meghan, that silence is deafening. This wasn't just a public fallout, it was a reckoning. Because Meghan had built her empire on empowerment, independence, and sisterhood. But now, the very people who once lifted her up were stepping back. And just like that, the story flipped. The woman once seen as a symbol of strength and survival was now being called something else entirely. Entitled, manipulative, even calculated. But here's what made this moment so different. This wasn't some tabloid hit job. These were real people. Former colleagues, staff, confidants, Tyler Perry, people who had her back when the cameras weren't rolling. People who gave her more than PR spin, they gave her shelter. And now they were pulling the curtain back. What started as one quiet, heartfelt speech became something bigger, a reckoning. Because if Tyler Perry, Hollywood's most composed, most respected, most unshakable figure, finally said enough, how many others had been silently waiting to do the same? And the fallout? Immediate. Netflix was suddenly reevaluating. Investors? Gone. Archwell's future? Uncertain. Inside sources say budgets were being slashed, hires were frozen, and major projects put on ice. What once looked like a booming brand now looked like a sinking ship. And on social media, the shift was brutal. The hashtags that once cheered her on had turned cold. Sarcastic memes, side-by-side comparisons, threads dissecting every contradiction. People were no longer just questioning the Crown's treatment of Meghan. They were questioning her. Because when the same stories about manipulation, control, and selective loyalty start popping up from different voices in different rooms in different industries, that's not gossip. That's a pattern. Even her most loyal supporters were falling quiet. Even the media, once tripping over itself to praise her, began hitting pause. And Meghan, behind closed doors, she was spiraling. Furious messages were fired off to Perry, accusations of betrayal, humiliation, destroying her family's legacy. But Perry never replied. Not then, not now. He didn't need to. His silence said everything. Because this wasn't about revenge, it was about relief. Relief from years of being emotionally cornered, asked to give more, say less, and constantly uphold someone else's story. And as more voices spoke up, publicists, consultants, even ex-staff, the pattern only grew clearer. This wasn't one messy friendship. This was a blueprint. Control, manipulation, emotional leverage. And in a place like Hollywood, where your reputation is your currency, Meghan's stock was crashing fast. Studio execs whispered behind closed doors. Collaborators backed out without a word. Some even joked that working with her was like playing chess with a mirror. Everything was strategy. Nothing was true. And then the numbers dropped. Support for Meghan and Harry in the US? Down over 30% in the last year. In the UK, that door had been closed long ago. Now, the fall was global. Sponsorships evaporating, public sympathy fading. Meghan's once promising empire? Now a cautionary tale. And through it all, Prince Harry stayed quiet. Some say he's trying to patch things up behind the scenes. Others think he's just tired. Tired of the battles, the spin, the collapse of what once looked like a fresh start. But in the end, it wasn't a scandal that exposed Meghan Markle. It was a whisper. A quiet, honest moment from a man who had nothing left to lose, just a truth that needed to be told. Because even royalty can be exiled twice. Once from the crown, and now from the culture. If you think Tyler Perry did the right thinger, if you're still torn, drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. And hey, if you made it this far, you have to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives like this every week right here on Anna Talks. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold.